Just a minute. Just hold on a minute. So we'll wait for just 1 minute and we'll continue. Waiting for a few more guests to join the session. Okay, let's continue this. Okay, good morning again. I hope you guys are doing great. We'll continue the discussion on the the addressing mode. Okay, so last class I showed you this link, that Blogspot, from where you can download the software. If you have access to desktop PC or laptop, I suggest you guys download this software. In one of the version, you can download latest version also. I gave older version in case the latest version has any issue with your operating system, because some of you may be using Windows 7. Nowadays, most of the system comes with the Windows 10. Okay, so for Windows 10, I suggest the latest version. The latest version you can download from Google also. Anyway, it's a trial version. That software trial version has some limitation, but enough for our study purpose, practice purpose. Okay, because anyway we are not going to design any system as such, so it should be sufficient for our what you call study purpose. So I suggest you to install the software at the earliest and start practicing. In today's class, I'll show you how to work with a Kale compiler. Okay, as I take up the examples, I'll show you this. Okay, so here we go. To start with, let's continue the discussion. Addressing modes. Last class, I think we discussed in detail what is an addressing mode. So addressing mode is a method of accessing the memory location. Okay, so memory location can be any type of memory location. It can be a RAM memory or it can be a ROM memory. So RAM memory is for data and ROM memory is for the code or instructions. Okay, the way the microcontroller access these locations using its address or using its location name. For example, like R0, R1, R2, something like that. Okay, that way of accessing these locations, either using address or names, is called as a addressing mode. It's called as a addressing modes. Okay. There are various addressing modes as we discussed in the last class. Main addressing modes are these 5 addressing modes. They are called as immediate addressing mode, register addressing mode, direct addressing mode, register indirect addressing mode, and index addressing mode. Okay, these are further divided into.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh yes, ಇದು share ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ
Screen share ಮಾಡಿ sir.
Correct. Sorry, sir. ಇದು 10 ಗಂಟೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಹಂಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ದಟ್ ಲಿಕರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು power off, my network was disconnected. After resuming connection, I forgot to share the screen. I started continuing. After 5 minutes, somebody reminded. By then, I had discussed a lot of things. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Can somebody please remind me? Because suddenly I'll jump to the document and I'll start discussing. So, okay. Where I was this? Okay, I have to come from the beginning now. This is a problem. Okay, anyway, no problem. Okay, this Blogspot I had shown, that 2 versions are shown, latest version and older version. Depending on operating system, you can go for either latest or older version. For Windows 10, I recommend the latest version. Okay, you can download from Google also. That's one thing I told. Okay, this another point is we started discussing on the this addressing modes. Okay, addressing modes. There are basic 5 basic addressing modes: immediate addressing mode, register addressing mode, direct addressing mode, register indirect addressing mode, and what is known as a indexed addressing mode. Okay, these 5 addressing modes are further divided into various addressing modes. They are called as, of course, few are same as that what we discussed just now. What we listed just now. Okay, they are immediate addressing mode, register addressing mode, direct addressing mode, indirect addressing mode. These four are similar to what we discussed in the other document, what we see in the other document. Some and index addressing mode. This also we saw in the other document. These five are basic addressing modes. These basic addressing modes are further split into relative addressing mode, absolute addressing mode is on the line. Now I need to jump to this link, otherwise okay, it will not allow the participants. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the basic five addressing modes are further divided into let me use a different color, relative addressing mode, okay, relative addressing mode, absolute addressing mode, long addressing mode, bit inherent addressing mode, and what is known as bit direct addressing modes. Okay, so 5 out of 10, 5 are the basic addressing modes and 5 are the derived addressing modes. Of course, not that this document does not discuss derived addressing mode, not like that. Here also we discussed that, but we discuss it as a modified addressing modes. Okay, so we'll take up one by one now. To start with, this we discussed in the last class, guys. Immediate addressing mode. Okay, as the name suggests, immediate addressing mode. Okay, immediate addressing mode. Data is part of the instruction. Data is part. Part means specified in the instruction. Data is part of the instruction. Okay, so that we call it as a immediate addressing mode. Okay, we'll take one example. How do we specify the data, guys? The data is specified using a hash symbol, or it's also called as a pound. Correct. It's also called as a pound symbol. Some textbook refer it as pound symbol. Some textbook you find it as hash symbol. Okay, hash symbol. This size of data, this also we last class we discussed. It can be 1 bit, or it can be 8 bit, or it can be 16 bit. On what it depends? It depends on the destination. For example, this also we discussed last class. The instruction, we'll take one example, move instruction, which is used to transfer the data from one location to another location. For example, let us say the immediate addressing mode means data is part of the instruction. So data should be the source. Data is the source of, data is the source. Okay. Destination can be any example. Destination can be the somebody's on the line. Just a second. Okay, here we go. Okay, destination can be a register. It can be a register, or it can be a memory location. It can be register or a memory location. We'll take both examples. Okay, we'll see all the possibilities. Somebody's on the line. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. It can be a register or a memory location. We'll take one example. Okay. Move a comma hash 09h, for example. Okay. A means accumulator. What is the size of accumulator, guys? 8 bit. Size of accumulator is 8 bit. Okay. So that's why the 8 bit data is copied into accumulator, where accumulator acts as a destination and the source of data is the direct data. Direct data. That's why it's called as a immediate addressing mode. Okay. What in case if the data is less than 8 bit, then the data will be converted into 8 bit. For example, we specify it as, for example, let's say move a comma hash 1. Let's say we specify 1 bit 1. So compiler does not mind. It will convert this 1 bit into 8 bit. It will convert 1 bit into 8 bit. That is, it will append zeros in the beginning. It will append zeros. It will convert into 8 bit. It will store it into accumulator. Okay. So this is an example for a 8 bit data. 8 bit data. Okay. Similarly, we can have of course, this is example for the register. It can be memory location also. For example, move 30h comma hash 09h. Hash 09h. Okay. Guys, what is the difference, guys? In this case, we see that one is 30h, which is the destination. Okay, and 09 is the source of data, and 30h is the destination. Okay, what we find is, we observe that the destination does not has a hash symbol. Okay, that is, destination is the memory location. Memory location does not has a hash symbol. Okay, whereas the source, which is the data, has a hash symbol. Okay, that's why it's called as a immediate addressing mode, where data is the part of the instruction. Okay, so this is an example for a 8 bit data. Similarly, we can take up 16-bit example, 16-bit immediate addressing mode example. Move a comma, sorry, not a, sorry. A is 8-bit. Compiler is not happy with accumulator for 16-bit of data. Move dptr comma hash. Let's say 1234. Last class we took this example 1234h. Okay, where 1234 is the 16-bit data. Okay, for example, if you replace dptr with a, in this case, what happens? Compiler says something wrong with the instruction, because the destination is 8-bit data, sorry, 8-bit location, and source is a 16-bit data. So compiler has a problem. Okay, so this is an example for a what is known as 16-bit example. Okay, 1-bit example for 1-bit data transfer. Okay, move c comma hash 1h or 0h. You will take 0. Why to take 1? 0, for example. Okay, so this 0 is the not h. Sorry, the h is a hexadecimal number. This, since it is only 1 bit, we have to say b, binary. Okay, even if you don't specify b, compiler understands, because it checks the destination. Destination is a carry bit whose size is 1 bit. So it understands that this 0 is a binary data, not hexadecimal data. Okay, it will transfer 0 to carry bit. Okay, we can use memory location also for this destination. For example, let's say move 00 comma 00h comma hash 0 hash 0. Okay, what is this 00 guys? This is nothing but the 1-bit location. If you see the, if you remember, we discussed bit memory locations. This yeah, bit yeah, here it is. Okay, bit addressable memory locations. In this case, the 20h byte address, 20h location as a LSB address of 00h. Okay, so this is what this location corresponds to. This 00 location corresponds to. Since there is no hash symbol, compiler understands that the destination is a memory location 00 whose size is 1 bit. Whose size is 1 bit. Data must be 1 bit. You cannot transfer 8-bit of data. Compiler generates here. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so this is an example of a data transfer instruction, which can be of 1-bit size, or it can be 8-bit size, or it can be 16-bit size. 16-bit example is also given. Okay, data transfer instructions using hash symbol. Okay. Okay, so for this we can use this assembler directives. I'll take up later after the discussion of addressing modes. I'll take up assembler directives. So let us not look into that examples, because I'll discuss the assembler directives in detail. Okay, possibly maybe in the next class. Okay. Okay, so there are many examples, for immediate addressing mode. Okay. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so next is that I think the addressing modes are discussed here. Okay, so this is the immediate addressing mode. Next is the register addressing mode. Okay, here is shown here register addressing mode. Okay, so what is register addressing mode? Okay, in register addressing mode, both source and destination are registers. This, how do we write the instruction, by the way? The instruction format. First comes the instruction. Okay, first parameter is the mnemonic. Mnemonic means instructions. Then comes the destination, separated by comma, source. Okay, source of data. Okay, and destination is the destination for the data. Okay, yes, in this case, that is in the register addressing mode. Next type of addressing mode, register addressing mode. Both source and destination has to be registers. Both source and destination has to be registers, and one of the register must be accumulator. The condition in 8051 based microcontroller is that one of the registers should be accumulator, either one of them, depending on our requirement. Actually, maybe we are transferring data from one register to accumulator, or from accumulator to register. Okay, so one of them has to be accumulator. Other can be any register. If source is, for example, if source is accumulator, the destination can be a register, or if a destination is accumulator, then the source can be register. Then the source can be register. We'll take one example. Okay, we have many examples for this. Okay, one simple example is move a comma r naught. R naught. Okay, what does this instruction does is the content of or not will be transferred into accumulator. Content of or not will be transferred into accumulator. Okay, so it's a register addressing mode because both source and destination is register and one of them is accumulator. If not accumulator, compiler has a problem. Compiler says not possible because 8051 microcontrollers are what is known as accumulator based microcontrollers. Okay, they are known as accumulator based microcontrollers. Because if you go to advanced ARM processor, advanced RISC machines, there is ARM. ARM stands for advanced RISC machines. Most of your nowadays processor used in our the devices, embedded devices, like laptops, or like in your mobile devices. Okay, the processor is a ARM, ARM processors. ARM stands for advanced RISC machines. Okay, somebody's on the line. Okay, these processor these pro okay, sorry. Okay, so these processors are not accumulator based. That means you can transfer data from any register to any register. The compiler does not demand one of the register to be accumulator. No problem, it's happy. But in 8051, since it is accumulator based microcontroller, one of them has to be accumulator. If not, compiler has a problem. Okay, few more examples. Let us look into few more examples. Then we'll run these instructions in the compiler, so that we understand, because we are talking about compiler and how the compiler responds. That also we have to see. Okay, so we should understand that. We look into that. We'll look into those examples. Okay, few more examples before we go to the compiler. Move R2, A. Source is the accumulator. Destination is the register R2. Okay, it can be like move A, B. Okay, source is the B register, destination is accumulator, something like that. Many examples is, as long as one of the register is one of the location is accumulator, no problem. For example, which is invalid, move R0, R1. That's also given actually in this document, but I'm writing here. Okay, if the instruction is, let's say, move R0, R1. Okay, what does this instruction says? Guys, transfer the content of R1 to R0. Looks like it's okay, but compiler has a problem. Why? Because one of the register is not accumulator. One of the source or destination is not accumulator. Compiler has a problem. Okay, compiler says sorry, not possible. This kind of transfer cannot be done. Other examples. Okay, other examples. Of course, we saw many examples. Some examples which generates error. For example, if you are trying to transfer content of DPL to R7, compiler will generate a error. Okay, and this kind of instruction is also invalid. Just now we saw. For example, we took it as move R0, R1. Okay, here the author has taken example of R4 and R7. Okay, so direct transfer between registers. If one of them is not accumulator, then it is invalid. It is totally invalid. So that the instruction is not supported in the microcontroller based processors, or 8051 based microcontrollers. Okay. Yes, I will go to the compiler. This is a yes, okay. How to work with the compiler? Last class in a hurry I had explained. I'll explain this again. Project, close project. Something is open, something like this. We can say project, close project. When you open the compiler, it may open like this. Everything is empty. Okay. Go to project, new Microvision project. Okay. Give some name to the project. Let us say addressing mode. Some example, some name. Okay. This again, as we discussed, last class, that is for the project. When you're creating a new project, you should not provide any dot extension. The compiler will automatically append dot extensions. We should not provide any dot extension. We should give just name for the project. I given the name as addressing some name, any name it works, no problem. Okay, it opens like this. Here we have to open the we have to select the target microcontroller. Okay, so for which we are writing the program, we have to select that microcontroller. Okay, what was the target microcontroller? This 8089S 52. 8089S 52. Okay, so 52 or 51. Please give me just a second. Okay, it's 52 or 51. I'll check. Just a second. Oh, sorry. 8089S, no problem. Okay, select 8089S52 and press OK. When you say OK, it will ask whether to generate this startup that EFI1 configuration file. You can say no, that's not required actually. Okay, it will generate a project. It will generate a target project device for 8089S52. Okay, now we have to write the program. To write the program, you can go to File, New, or you will find that shortcut here only. Okay, Control N. Okay, yeah, here it is. Now first we'll see how to write the program in assembly language program. Okay, fine. So now I'll write the instructions for both the addressing modes what we have discussed now, that is the direct addressing mode and sorry, immediate addressing mode and register addressing mode. Okay, so let me write the program. Move. One more thing, assembly language program is case insensitive. Case insensitive. Okay, unlike what you call C language. Okay, where C language is a case sensitive. Okay, in C language A is different than A. Okay, it is different. In assembly language program, case is not it's not an issue. You can write either in uppercase or you can write in lowercase, no problem. Okay, so I'm writing in lowercase. You can write in any case. It doesn't matter. Okay, move is the instruction. Let us say A is our destination, comma #09H, #09H. Okay. What does the instruction says this? I'm writing a program to transfer some data into accumulator using move instruction. Okay. Let us say after writing the program, we have to save the file. How do we save the file? File, save as. Now you have to give the name. Let me give the same name. Add mode. Okay. You have to give the dot extension. Since it is assembly language program, dot extension is .asm. Okay. If it is a C language, it will be .c. If it is C++, it is CPP. Something like that. Okay. So since it is assembly language program, the dot extension is .asm. So give the name for the source code .asm. Save the file. Okay. Did you notice some changes? This as soon as we saved it as .asm, the color has changed. The instruction are mnemonic, which is called as a mnemonic. This is the mnemonic or instruction. Okay, it takes one color, usually in blue color. Destination will be in another color. In this case, it is showing green color. Immediate data will be in red color. Something. Okay. This color convention vary from compiler to compiler. Don't worry. Okay. But this confirms that we have saved the file as filename.asm. Okay. After saving the file as filename.asm, we have to add this file to the project. How do we do that? Okay, observe this. To add this source code to the source file or source code to the project, right click on source group, add existing files to the source group. Why existing? Because we have already generated the file and we have saved with some name. So right click on the source group, add existing files to the source group, give the name. Because here you can change it as ASM source and you can search, or else you can straight away start typing the name of the file. File was add mode. You got it. Okay, add mode .asm. Okay. Select the source file. Don't select the project. No, we should not add project to the project. We should add source code to the project. Select the source code, okay, and press add. As soon as you press add once, this, okay, you observe this area, guys. There is a plus symbol generated. That means this source code is already added to the project. It is already added. How do we know? Okay, so for that, what you have to do is first you have to close this. After clicking on add once, close this. Click on this plus symbol. You can see that the source code is added. Source code is added to the project. Okay. This after this, you have to check for the syntax error. This in the C language, if you remember, used to compile the program. Used to come in Turbo. If you have used Turbo C compiler, used to compile the program. Okay. Why do we compile the program? To check for syntax errors. Okay. To check for syntax errors. Similarly, here also we have to check for the syntax error. in assembly language program. How do we do that? For that, right click on add more, the file name, source code, click on build target. Okay, observe the bottom portion is this. Okay, let me drag this to this side. Okay, yeah, here we go. This source code is check for syntax error. There is a warning. What is this warning? Warning says end statement is missing. End is a assembler directive. Assembler directive which we are yet to discuss. Okay, assembler directive. Okay, fine. So this end indicates the end of the assembly program, without which also it works, no problem. No, without which also it works, okay, no issues. But it's always good practice to include the assembly directive, end assembly directive. What happens if you include end assembly directive? I'll show you that also. Okay. If you include end assembler directive after this, at the end of the program, let's say you have written some lengthier program, at the end you include end. It can be small letters or it can be capital letters also. Okay, even capital letters also, because assembly code is not case sensitive. Okay, yeah. After writing the program, what is the first step? Is you have to save the file. Since we have already saved, just save the file. Control S. Each time you modify the source code, you have to check for the syntax error. You have to check for the syntax error each time you modify. Since I modified now, I'll check for the syntax errors. How do I check for syntax errors? Right click on the source file, build target. Now you can see that warning is not there. That warning, end warning is not there, because end is already included in the source code. End is already included in the source code. Okay. It's just for your information. End is optional, but it is required in some cases. I'll explain that later. Okay. So errors are 0. You can see that the errors are 0. Once errors are 0, next is we go for what is known as, okay, right click on the source file. Okay. Okay. So build target is the syntax checking. After that, go to debug and say start or stop debug session. Okay. After building the target, okay, go to debug, start debug session. That's okay. Because in this free version, what we use, the compilers what we are using is a free version. There is a limitation of this source code whose maximum size should not exceed 2 kilobytes. That's the limitation. But what the source code we write does not exceed bytes. Forget about kilobyte. It will not exceed even a byte. Okay. So you can comfortably use this trial version. Don't worry. Okay. So at this stage you can press OK. Okay, fine. So this opens some other windows which need discussion, of course, but we'll do it whenever necessary. There are 3 windows what you can see now. One is the disassembly window, and the other is the output window. There is the register window. Another is the actual source code what we wrote. Okay, I'll explain what is this windows are basically. Okay, disassembly window shows the content of the code memory. Okay, and this register window shows the content of various registers. Okay, fine. We'll look into this in little detail. Okay, so what is the program we have written? Is we have written a simple program. Move a comma #09h. Okay, that you can see here. The program move a comma #09h. Of course, it is written as #0x09, not 09h. Okay, so what is the difference? 0x means hexadecimal, h also means hexadecimal. So either we can write it as 0x09 or you can write it as 09h. Both are same. Okay, but compiler considers this as a 0x09 by, because it will treat hexadecimal number with 0x notation. Okay, 0x notation. That's all. Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, now it has generated what is known as a instruction. This instruction is internally converted. Okay, because by the way, what is the role of a compiler? This we discussed in the last class. Compiler will convert program written in either medium level language or higher level language into what is known as machine level language. Okay, What is medium level language? For example, assembly program. Assembly program comes under medium level language. C program comes under higher level language. Okay. So these programs written in either assembly language or C language is converted into machine code. What is machine code? Zeros and ones, which microcontroller or processor can easily understand. Okay. This binary representation of the program what we have written is shown in the disassembly window. Okay. What does the compiler has done here is that the instruction which is move a comma #09. Out of this instruction, move a is converted into 74H. Okay, and let me take another color because monotonic color, okay. So 09 is taken as it is. Why 09 is taken as it is? Because it is an immediate data. Immediate data is not converted. Only the mnemonic, the instruction is converted into binary numbers. Okay. Okay. This let us see. Sorry. Let us see what is this 7490H. Okay. So if you write in binary 7490. Sorry, not 90, 09, 7409. 74 corresponds to move A, and 09 corresponds to data, immediate data. Okay, that is move A comma #09H. Okay, 74. How do we write 7409 is 747. 7 is 0111. I'll take another color so that just. Okay, what is 4? 4 is 0100. 0100. Okay, and 09. 0 is 0000. And what is 9? In binary representation 1001. Okay, so this is 7, this is 4, this is 0, and this is 9. This data, which is nothing but binary representation of the instruction, is called as operational codes. Operational codes. In short, we call it as opcodes. Okay, these operational codes are stored in the memory. See, what we wrote was this instruction. We wrote like move A comma #09H. Okay, but compiler cannot store this. It has to be in binary, zeros and ones. So this instruction is converted into binary representation. That is 7409H for this instruction. If you change this instruction, this number will also change. That we'll see. We'll see that examples also. Okay, this information along with the address where the data is stored. It is stored in the address. In 2 locations actually it is stored. Okay, in what are the locations it is stored? I'll show that here. In the location 0000, because ROM location address size is 16-bit. ROM location address size is should I take another color? Okay, ROM location address size is 16-bit. Address 0000 consists of 74H, which corresponds to move A, and the location 0001 consists of 09H, which is the immediate data. Okay, so 2 locations are used to store the instruction move A comma #09H, that we can see here. Okay, and now I'll erase all this. Yes, there we go. So it consists of 2 locations. That we don't see the address 0001. Why? Because it is not shown. It is hidden. Here. Okay, 0000 consists of 74. Okay, this also will show in the memory window. I'll show that way. Okay, and 0001 consists of the data 09H. This I'll show it in the memory window. Okay, what is the other window it generates? Guys, it opens up the register window where we actually see that the content of the registers, and the other one is our program. This option, no problem. Okay, here we go. Okay, so after this, what step resulted in this one, guys? That was debug start session. Okay, that means after build target, after writing the program, after saving the file as filename.asm, right click on the source code, build target, it checks for the syntax errors, go to debug start session. Okay, press OK. Then it will open this window. There is disassembly window, register window, and our program window. Click on debug run. Just like in C program, we used to do is, first step was compile. What was the second step is it was run. It was run. Okay. Similarly, in this the kill compiler also, the next step is debug run. Okay. When you say debug run, you can observe that some location content changes. Okay. Observe these two locations is shall I change the color? Yeah. Okay. Observe these two locations. What is the content of accumulator now? A. A corresponds to accumulator. The content of accumulator is 09H. That means data 09 is transferred into accumulator. Data 09 is transferred into accumulator. Okay. Fine. This we can see in another way also that I'll show you now. Okay. That is using what is known as memory window. That is using what is known as memory. This at the bottom of the this tool, that is my compiler tool. You can see what is known as a memory window. This, can you see this tab? Memory. Okay. If this is not visible, for example, in your compiler, then you can go to view, click on memory window. What it is showing is one. This one. You can click any number of memory window guys. You can open any number of memory window and you can observe the content. Okay. How to observe the content now? That I'll explain now. Okay. Where this accumulator is available is accumulator is part of the internal data memory. Accumulator is internal data memory. Okay. To observe the internal data memory, click on the address space, this editable space. Click D. What? Capital D, of course. D stands for data memory. There's three memories we can access here. One is D for data memory. Another is C memory. C for code memory. And letter X corresponds to external memory. Letter X corresponds to external memory. External. Okay. So we can observe these three types of memory. I'll show you all the three if possible now. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. The syntax is D colon, not semicolon. D colon address. What's the address this? Okay. The two way of representing the address 0x. 0x means without space 0x. Hexadecimal. Address. What is the address this? Address of accumulator E0. E0, not O. E0. Press enter. You can see that E0. How do we know it is E0? Go to the memory window. There is what you call special function registers. Okay. In this special function register, you can observe that what you call the accumulator. You can observe that it is accumulator. Address of accumulator is byte address is E0, E0H. Okay. So I have typed the same address here. That is E0H. So that here is okay. So I have typed the same address E0. We can see that the content of this location is 09. Okay. The other way of representing the address is E0H. H for hexadecimal. Oh, sorry, capital H. Okay. Sorry, it is running is okay. 0x works, no problem. 0x E0. E0. Okay. E0H. Sorry, this E0H as a issue in this version. That's why I'm checking, whether it can. Sorry. Because you have to use 0x E0. 0x E0. E0, capital E0, of course. Even small, it will work, no problem. Okay. Even small E also work, no problem. Okay. Just for our what you call similarity, we use capital, no problem. Okay. 0x E0, enter and press enter. Type 0x E0 and press enter. You can see that particular location where the data is transferred. Okay. Okay. Yes, how to observe this code memory? I'll show you that also. Okay. How to observe this content, content of code memory where the instructions are stored. Okay. So for that, let us go to another window. You can maximum you can open up to 4 memory windows. Okay. Maximum you can open up to 4 memory windows. Okay. In the next window, C for code memory colon 0x and the address is 0000 0x00. Okay. So I explained that the location Okay, 0000 as the data 74H. 74H corresponds to move A. Move A. The location 0001 corresponds to contains 09H, which corresponds to immediate data. Yes. Now the question is, how do we know out of these two data that 74 is 00? How do we know? Generally, what is the convention is that whatever the address you type here, that will corresponds to the first data. Okay. Now let us modify this. Let us say I'll change the address. Let us say the address is 01, that is 0001, for example. 0001, press enter. This is what you can see now. You can see only the location, you can see the location starting from 0001. Okay, that corresponds to the first location. What about the second location now? What is the address of this the second location? It is 0003. Sorry, 0002. Sorry, 0002. That's it. Okay. So from this we understand that the binary representation of the instruction what we have written is loaded in the internal ROM space, starting from the address 0000, and this address can be changed. How to do that? We'll see later. Okay. And our program also has one more instruction. It's not an instruction, of course. It is an assembler directive. Okay. Is it stored in the memory, internal ROM space? No. Why? Because these assembler directives, since they are not instructions, it will not be allocated any space in the memory. That means it will not have any binary representation of a assembler directives. Binary representation corresponds to only the mnemonics. That is instructions. Because even in C language also, we used to write, last class we discussed, that preprocessor directives. Hash if def, or last class we saw, like the hash include. Okay. Because compiler will not allocate memory space for these preprocessor directives, because though it's a part of the program, this will not take up any memory space. Similarly, in assembly programming, assembler directives will not have any binary representation format. It is just a instruction or information to the assemblers, not compilers, assemblers in assembly language program. Okay. Yes, I hope this is clear, guys. Okay. After this, let us say if we have written the program, we build the target, debug the session. Okay. I want to write one more program. How to do that? Okay. So first thing is you have to stop debug session, because it is debug session is running. Stop debug session. It will come back to the normal mode, editable mode. Okay. Here you can change the program. We can run again. Let us write an example for a register addressing mode. Let me write a program. Move A, R0. First, I'll transfer some data to R0. Move R0, hash 06H. Another example. Just another program. Okay. In our program now we have totally three lines, out of which two are instructions. One is a assembler directive. Here we go. Okay. Guys, what we are doing in this program is, let us observe. First instruction will transfer the data 06H into register R0, and the content of R0 is transferred into accumulator. What is the addressing mode of the first instruction? Immediate addressing mode. Why? Because data is part of the instruction, is called as immediate addressing mode. Registers part of the instruction is called as register addressing mode. But the condition is one of the register has to be accumulator. What if it is not accumulator? Let us check that also. In fact, we have to check that one. We have to check the mistakes actually. Okay. Yes, let us say I have written a program to transfer the content of R0 into R1. Okay. Transfer the content of R0 into R1. Let us see how the compiler reacts. First, let us run this program. First, what is the first step is, after writing the program, save the file. File as file name .sm. If you have opened another file, if you are running in the same file, no problem. You can just say save. Control S. Okay, just to save. Next step is check for syntax error. Right click on the source group, click on build. Of course, you have shortcut F7. Why I'm not explaining the shortcut is because if I press F7, you'll not be knowing. You can't watch that. You can't view that. That's why I'm clicking on these buttons. Right click, build target. Compiler has a problem. Compiler says invalid register. Of course, it will not give more information. Even in C language, this if you have seen the program in Turbo C, let's say you written 2 lines, or 2 or 3 lines, okay? Simple program, it will generate 25 line error. It will generate 25 lines error. But it will not say what is the error because it doesn't care. Compiler says it's not my problem. Writing correct code is your problem. If you make a mistake, I'll tell you the mistake. I'll not tell you what is the mistake because I don't know what is your intention of writing the problem. Okay. It says invalid register. Which is invalid? Is it R0 is invalid or R1 is invalid? It's not clear. Which is that information we don't get it here. Okay. So we should know the programming concept. The basics we should know. Okay. So that means the compiler has a problem with both the register being not containing any accumulator. Okay, so one of them should be accumulator. So let us modify the program. I'll take this as accumulator. Why? Because I want to transfer the content of register R0 into accumulator. Let us run this program. Save this just now as I explained. Each time you change the source code, you have to save the file. Each time you change the source code, you have to save the file. Okay, so make that as a habit, guys. Save the file. After saving the file, right click on the source group and build target. And one more thing is that each time you change the source code, you have to build the target. If you don't build the target, registers are not updated. It will take the older content of registers. Okay, that we'll see in detail later when we write a bigger programs. Okay, so each time you change the source code, save the file and do the build target. Okay. Now it's okay. The compiler says fine because one of the register is accumulator. We don't have any problem, and we have end assembler directive also. That's why it doesn't has any warnings. It says I'm fine. I'm okay with this. Okay, that was the compiler's messages. This what is the next step is after building the target, which checks for the syntax error. Go to debug. Start debug session. Here you can say okay. Of course, you don't have any other option in other than closing that particular small window. Okay, this it will open like this. You can see that this observe this disassembly window. This is interesting. Now instruction is move R0, for which the compiler generated a operational code as 78H. Okay, immediate data is used as it is 06H. We have one more instruction. That is move A comma R0. This move A comma R0 as a 1-byte operational code. Let's observe this. Move R0 comma #06H as a 2-byte operational code. What is 2-byte operational code, guys? 2 bytes are 7, 8, and 06. This is the lower byte. Anyway, lower byte, upper byte, it's okay, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it matters no doubt, but just for the discussion purpose. So this first instruction has generated 2-byte operational code. Out of 2 byte, 1 byte corresponds to immediate data. So if the instruction is not immediate addressing mode, like for example register addressing mode, it will generate a single byte operational code. What is a single byte in this case? E8H. Okay, so this is what is known as operational code. Okay, this out of curiosity, let us say debug stop. I'll show you everything. Now it is E8H. Okay, now let us say instead of R0, let us change it to R1. Let's see what happens. Each time you have to save the file, build target. Okay, debug start session. Observe the operational codes. Did you change the serial changes? Earlier it was 78 for R0. Now it is 79H for R1. For R1, it is corresponds to 79H. Also, move A comma R1. Earlier it was move A comma R0. It was E8H. E8H. Now it is E9H. For move A comma R1, it is E9H. Okay. So that means as the instruction changes, operational codes also changes. Okay. This list of operational code is given in one textbook. That the author is Kenneth J. Ayala. In the textbook, Kenneth J. Ayala textbook. In fact, I have the hard copy. I think we have soft copy also. If that is the case, I'll check out. In this textbook, in the appendix, the author has given the operational code for all possible instructions. Okay. Out of curiosity, you can look into that. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. So let us run the program. Okay, so what is the time? Just a second. Time is okay. 2 more minutes, guys. Oh yeah. What is the next step? Is after debug start session, debug run. What was our intention in the program? Copy the content of 06 to register R1, then copy the content of R1 to register A. That's accumulator. Okay. So what we can see in this case is R1 content is 06H. And accumulator content is 06H. Why? Because content of R1 is copied into accumulator. Okay, fine. What is this stack pointer? We'll see later, guys. In the last class we discussed stack pointer. Not last class, previous to that, we said that stack pointer by default it is initialized to 07H. 0. That's what we see here. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, guys. Now there's one more point we have to observe here. Because in the C language, there was a step execution. Yes, you remember this? Anybody remember that? Step execution. Step execution of instruction. Yes, anybody has tried this step execution in C language, in Turbo C? The shortcut was F11 in C language. Okay. Similar step execution of the program is available in assembly kill compiler. That I'll show you now. Okay. So that we can see how the program execution takes place, so that we should understand. Okay, here we go. Okay, so for that the steps are like this. First, write the program, save it as filename.asm. Okay, so first step is check for the syntax errors, that is the build target. Next is debug start session. Okay, next is generally what we do is debug run. Instead of that, there is one more option. Check out this, guys. Step shortcut is F11. Okay, if you press the shortcut F11, what we can see is we can see the execution of the program line by line. We can see the line by line execution of the program. Okay, so guys, I'll press F11 on my laptop and we can see the execution of the program. Let's observe the initial content of R1. What is the initial content of R1? 00. Initial content of R accumulator is 00. Now I'll execute F11. First time when I press F11, okay, so click on this what you call before you press F11, click on this program window. Okay, you can see that first when I pressed F11, it will show one blue arrow, guys. Can you see this blue arrow, guys? Okay, this blue arrow corresponds to program counter. What is a program counter, guys? It is a 16-bit register which points to the next instruction to be executed by the microcontroller. Okay, the present instruction which is being executed is the first instruction. Next instruction to be executed by the microcontroller is this instruction, which is pointed by the program counter. So this blue arrow actually corresponds to the the pointer, program counter. Okay, which is pointing to the next instruction to be executed by the microcontroller. Okay, yeah. So I'll press F11 again. Okay. Yes, did you observe now? First thing is, first of all, that single blue arrow is now converted into double blue arrow. Let's observe this arrows here. It is converted into double blue arrow because first this indicates that first instruction is already executed. When first instruction is executed, immediate data 06 is transferred into register R1. Immediate data 06 is transferred into register R1. Okay. But still the second instruction is yet to be executed. Okay, so go to this window again, select on this window, press F11. So when you press F11, whatever the instruction pointed by this double arrow, one is blue and the other is yellow color, that will be executed. Okay, so press F11. You can see that the second instruction is executed, and in the second instruction, the content of R1 is transferred into accumulator. Content of R1 is now transferred into accumulator. That is 06H is transferred into accumulator. Yes, okay. Fine. Anyway, it's the time up. I'll stop at this point. So we have discussed this basically. Next is debug stop. Okay, so to stop the execution. Okay, so we have discussed addressing modes. Two addressing modes basically. There is immediate addressing mode where data is part of the instruction, and comes the register addressing mode where both source and destination has to be registered. But the condition is that one of them has to be accumulator. It cannot be both accumulator. Compiler generates again. Okay, you can try all these guys. That's why I suggest you to download this software guys from this this Blogspot, or you download from Google. You get it in Google also. Okay, download the software, install, and try some programs. Okay, we'll continue in the next class. Thanks for joining. See you in the next class. Bye. Take care. Bye. I should say stop recording.